everyone. It is time for Create Kids, so let's get started. Our verse today is Judges 7:12. The armies of Midian, Amalek, and the people of the east had settled in the valley like a swarm of locusts. Their camels were like grains of sand on the seashore, too many to count. That sounds like a huge army. And usually when there's an army, that means there's a battle. So, who's going to win this battle? Because we're going to talk about one today. We are about to find out. Sometimes we get put in situations where we just feel like everything is against us and we just cannot win. Like, just everything you can think of goes wrong, or things just aren't working out how we need them to work out. And when that happens, we have to remember that God is for us no matter what. And things on the outside can look crazy. It can just look like we are just destined to fail. But it doesn't matter what's going on around us as long as we remember that God is for us. Now, if we look in Judges 6, our verse is from Judges 7, but if we go back to Judges 6, where we learn that the Israelites, who are God's chosen people, they messed up again. They started worshiping other gods after, God has told them to stop doing that because they started worshiping fake gods. And so they get into a little bit of trouble. And this group of people called the Midianites start to take advantage of them. They're mean to them. They're stealing all their food. They're starving. All this bad stuff is happening to them. And one day God sends an angel to this guy named Gideon. And Gideon, we're going to find out, he wasn't some strong warrior type of a person, right? So this angel comes up to him and he's like, mighty hero, the Lord is with you. And Gideon is like, mighty hero? What do you mean, mighty hero? I'm not mighty and I am not a hero. Because remember, I said they didn't have any food. So Gideon was hiding in this barrel trying to get some wheat and stuff like that. So he's in hiding. He's a member of the weakest clan or a group of people that he lived with. The people that he lived with, his family, they were the weakest out of all the families around, right? So he's hiding. He's in the weakest family. And then on top of that, he's the least of his family. So he's probably one of the younger people in his family. So for this angel to come up to him and be like, what up, hero? Gideon is like, nah, bro, you got the wrong one. It's not me. But that's kind of a big deal because a lot of times we do that to ourselves. God is looking at us and saying these great things about us. And we're looking at God like, nah, fam, that's not me. I'm not this, I'm not that. I'm not all these great things that you're calling me. And God is like, no, you are. I made you. I know what's inside of you. What's on the outside may not look like what you want it to look like, but I know what I put in you, even if you don't. So you are what I say you are. And God said that Gideon was a hero, and we're going to find out that he really was the hero. He didn't even know he was. So, where am I? Let's see. If we go to chapter 7, that's where we're the meat of our story is going to be. I just wanted you to kind of figure out who Gideon was a little bit. So if we go to this chapter, he now has this army. He went from being a nobody to now he has this army. His army has 22,000 men. That's a really big army, right? So they're getting ready to go fight the Midianites and get out of this place of oppression that they're in, where they're taken advantage of and they're starving and stuff, because God is okay, let's go ahead and get out of this now. So he has this army, 22,000 people, and he's getting ready to go fight. And God is like, wait a minute, Gideon, hold on. You got too many people. And Gideon is like, sir, I gotta go fight this battle. What do you mean 22,000 is too many people? And God is like, it's just too many. You need to get rid of some. So I want you to tell everybody that's afraid to go ahead and go home, because I don't need any scaredy cats right now. So Gideon is like, okay, I'm going to trust you. And he sends anybody that's afraid home. God is like, if they're afraid, tell them to leave. So Gideon goes to his men and he's like, listen, if you're afraid, go ahead, go on home. So when he said that, 12,000 people left. So Gideon went from a 22,000 man army to a 10,000 man army. That's a lot of people to lose. So Gideon is like, okay, I trust you, God. Let's just hold it here. We're gonna go to this battle with these little 10,000 men, and I trust you. So they're on their way. They're getting closer to where they need to be, and then God is like, hey, wait a minute. Guess what? You still have too many people. And Gideon is like, what? Are you kidding me? I have to go fight a battle. How is this too many people? And God is like, listen, it's too many, fam. Let's split this up and get rid of some more people. So the plan, God gave Gideon this plan to have the men drink from some water. And now if they like scoop the water up in their hands and they drink it like that, they can stay. If they get on the ground and stick their like face into the water to drink it, they had to go home. So Gideon has the men do that, and as he's watching, he's like, no, don't kneel, get up. I need you to stop kneeling down. Because once it was all over and done with, Gideon was left with 300 men, and that was it. He went from 22,000 men to 300 men. That's not very many people, especially when you have to go to war. But he said, you know what, God, I trust you. All right, let's do this. So now one night with his 300 men, God is like, all right, Gideon, it's time to go. But you know what? If you're afraid, I'm going to give you a chance to go spy on the other army. Listen to what they're saying, see what they have going on. And Gideon is like, all right, cool. So he takes one of his friends and they go to the enemy's camp. And when they get there, that's where our verse comes from. When Gideon gets there, knowing he only has 300 men, he sees an army that looks like a swarm of locusts. And they have camels as many as like there are grains of sand at the beach. And Gideon is like, oh, how am I going to do this, God? How are you going to do this, God? That's crazy. So he starts spying and he's listening to what people are saying. And one of the men in the other army was telling one of his homeboys about a dream he had. And the guy that was with Gideon, Gideon's friend, he's like, Gideon, I'm going to tell you what this dream means. It means we're going to win. And so Gideon gets all excited and he's encouraged. So he goes back to his camp. He gets his men together and he's like, all right, I have a plan. God gave me a plan. I'm going to give all of you a ram's horn, which is kind of like, it's like a trumpet, like you can blow into it and it makes noise. So he was like, I'm going to give you guys this ram's horn. I'm going to give you a torch and I'm going to give you a clay jar. And I'm going to split us up into 3 groups of 100. So there's going to be 100 here, 100 here, 100 here. And then we're going to surround this army. And I want you to copy everything that I do. So they have these torches and they cover them with their jars so that the army won't see them sneaking up. And they surround the Midianite army. And Gideon takes his horn and he blows into it. And it makes this loud sound. And then he smashes his jar on the ground so that now his light is shining, right? And then everybody, all of his men copy him. So now like all these horns are going off, and there's just light everywhere. And the other army gets confused. Like God sends them into like mass confusion and they just have no idea what's going on and they start to fight each other. Gideon trusted God with his 300 men and they didn't even have to fight because God caused the other people to fight each other. God caused the enemy to be confused, and he does the same thing for us. Like he causes our enemies to get confused. When people are coming against us and we're dealing with things, he can cause them to change for us. So Gideon, what did he have going against him? He lived with the weakest family. He was the least in his family, and he only had 300 men. But none of that mattered to God at all. So when we feel like we aren't important, like when you feel like you're not important and you feel like everything is against you, just remember that you are important. To others, you're important to God. He created you. He has a plan for you. And if God is for you, nothing can be against you. You are going to fight any battle that you can go in, even if it doesn't seem like you have enough, just like Gideon did, because God is going to work it all out in your favor.